That was Land Down with their song One Shot. And I'm fucking with you guys. Welcome back to the RSC Podcast. I was doing my terrible disc jockey bit. You probably want to stab me, and that's cool. But speaking of wanting to stab people, I know a bunch of guys that want to overthrow the government, and they just restarted their site that got seized. You guys might have heard of it. It's called Silk Road. It's where you could buy illegal drugs and sell illegal drugs on the internet through a secure server. And it got shut down by the government for obvious reasons. And a Twitter user named Dread Pirate Roberts was tweeting out a lot this past week about how it was coming back and making a comeback and basically rubbing in the face of the government when they shut it down. I'm not advocating anyone go and try to get on Silk Road. I'm telling you that right now. Don't do it. It is a bad idea. But if you do want to go check it out, there's a screenshot if you Google the article I'm looking at. The homepage is the site has risen again, and it looks exactly like the website page you get for when a site is seized. Or it might look like the ones when the government shut down. Fucking shut down my panda cam. So bitter about that. I want to look at cute pandas after a hard day at work. Is that so much to ask?
Yeah.
No, it's not. They're cuddly and they're cute, and my tax dollars house that thing. I should get to see it whenever I want. And they set up more cameras to when it's off the camera that I'm looking at, I can switch the camera to and see more cute panda stuff. It's bullshit.
You are a panda stalker.
You know what? I am completely off topic. I'm going to whip your ass after that because no one puts stalker and panda in the same sentence when you're referring to me. I love pandas. I'm not a panda stalker. I'm a panda lover. And not in a sexual way, you sick son of a bitch, Andrew. Anyways, off topic. Silk Road 2.0. That's what we're talking about right now. Not pandas, you fucking fucks. I hate you guys. Alright. Andrew, what are your thoughts on the Silk Road 2.0 coming back?
Well, I don't know too much about the Silk Road situation, but I know that when you're taking stuff offline, you can't really stop the internet's, the society of people on the internet. Same thing happened with ISO Hunt. They were shutting that down. The creator of ISO Hunt was going to shut the site down within a week, and the people found out about that, and they copied pretty much the exact same site. They copied all of ISO Hunt, and they're just basically posting it back up as a different version. With almost the same name, exactly.
Yeah, and that's a little bit different, though, too, because, that's music, downloading files, porn videos, whatever you want to download, that's all, torrent files, a little bit different than drug trafficking. So, a little bit different, but yeah, what you're saying is the same scenario. When there's a community of people that want something, and they know how to get it out there, they're going to do it. And, let's be honest, drug trading's not new. It's not like it just popped up in, the 1900s. It's been around for a while, so people are going to do it regardless, but apparently it's pretty popular. I know Josh has a huge crack addiction. He's probably been on it a couple times. What are your thoughts on it, Josh? Okay, first off, let me phrase. I told him that he had a crack addiction and he stammered, not because he's addicted to crack, but because he had no idea I was going to hit him with that jab. That was completely off cuff. But anyways, now that Josh has got to recover a little bit, and I've cleared up his name, he's not addicted to crack. Anyone listening to this, if his mom or dad listens, I'm joking.
No, it threw me off because I had this good thing to throw in, and then you threw that bomb at me, and now I totally fucking forgot what I was gonna say.
And boom, live radio, people. We don't plan this out. There's no papers in front of us.
But yeah, I was reading that article, right? The thing that stuck out to me the most is the guy doesn't think he's hurting anybody. It's just dude, you're selling illegal drugs. At some point, somebody's getting hurt. Because he likes to think he's not doing anything wrong. I'm like, dude, really?
No drug dealer thinks they're doing anything wrong, Josh.
No, most of them just don't care. I don't think most of them think they're not doing anything wrong, but
I'd say about 50%.
Well, if we want to open up a whole other can of worms, and we might do this another day, talk about morality and ethics and stuff. Some people look at it as I'm selling drugs. The people want the drugs. I'm not forcing them to take drugs. They're doing this to themselves. So technically, I'm not doing anything wrong in the eyes of being a person. The government doesn't like it because the government can't capitalize off of it. But that's a whole other issue for a whole other time. We could have a whole podcast based on our griefs with the government, but we're not into that. We love pandas here on this show. And that's the overwhelming prevalence I want you guys to pull out of this segment, is that when Panda Cam got shut down, it was wrong. and if you take nothing else from this segment, is that pandas are cute.
Pandas are pretty awesome.
But I'm going to get off that panda stick. I keep getting into it because it's hilarious to me. But pandas are adorable. But the original Silk Road, it had nearly 100,000 anonymous users that could buy and sell everything using the Tor browser. They were made with the virtual currency that Andrew knows a lot about, is Bitcoin. They used Bitcoin, and the sales were totaled up to over $1 billion in Bitcoin transactions. Now, I'm not nearly as versed in Bitcoin as you are, so I don't know if there's any way. I know the Winklevosses own it now. That's all I know. The Winklevosses have a stake or majority stake.
They only own 1% of it.
They only own 1%?
Yep.
I was reading a story on CNN which painted it to be like the Winklevosses are taking over the internet again.
That's the news.
That's because 1% is more than anybody. Like 1% of all is more.
So they are the majority ownership.
They are the majority, but the creator of that shit was pretty much unknown. Like he's just like mythical.
Now, when you've been reading about Bitcoin, because I know you were fascinated for a while, and I think you even thought about doing a project on it at one point. Did you notice anything about like tracking the currency, like kind of like a debit card? Can you track the Bitcoin transactions?
It's untrackable. So.
Okay, so that makes complete sense of why it was all used through Bitcoin. So I know that the government was talking about trying to regulate Bitcoin. Do you think that might have had a reason for it?
The government, I don't think they'll be able to regulate it at all. But
yeah, I just didn't know. I mean, like this obviously makes sense of that they want to stop transactions like this. Because let's be honest, you can probably traffic people on a site like this too.
Yes.
I mean, there's definitely black market sites like that too.
All sorts of terrible things on Tor.
Yeah, I mean, if you dig deep down, you will hate humanity. So,
actually, the whole Bitcoin thing brings up a good question. I was like, since it's not real currency, it's real currency that you're turning into fake currency. Does that cause any kind of legal loophole?
Well, the government shut down a couple of the big Bitcoin sites in like California, so they don't like it because it goes against.
Oh yeah, I mean it's obviously
a
like
threat to our economic well-being.
True, but the thing is, like, I was like, I don't know if you guys know the answer any more than I do. I was like, but legally, is there anything against it since it's not real currency? Is there that kind of loophole going on?
I'm not really sure. I just know that since people who sell things will accept it as a currency to buy things, that's where it gets all its strength. Like, if people won't accept it as currency, then it means nothing. But people will accept Bitcoin. You can buy CDs. You can buy a lot of stuff with it online all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing is, a lot of people use it in protest of the American dollar and taxes and stuff like that too, because I think it's just straight up Bitcoin. Like, I mean, literally, it seems like it kind of looks like the Farmville thing, where you got the little gold coin down there, and that you send it over. I think it kind of works like a PayPal type deal, where you send over your Bitcoins to the person, they accept it.
To get Bitcoin, it's kind of a complicated process. I was going to buy some, about a year ago, and their price was around like $70 a coin at that point.
Was it?
Yeah, and now I remember it fluctuated. Like it went up to $250 at one point for just one Bitcoin, and now it's back down to about $120.
Yeah, because I'm actually trying to look up, but where we're doing our podcast, we don't really have a good Wi-Fi connection. I'm trying to see what the currency trade was for the American dollar to Bitcoin, but I'm going to take your word for it. It's over $100 because I know if it was 1 for 1, that would be a weak ass currency because the American dollar is not what it used to be.
I read the article by the guy who bought it in 2009. He bought some Bitcoins and forgot about them, and then they're worth about $800,000 today.
Shit.
It made me regret not buying some back then.
Now, my thing was, like, when he buys the Bitcoins, you can just use that for any place that accepts Bitcoins. Like, you can't go and actually turn it into cash.
You have to, there's, like, exchanges online. I know, and it's a lot of it through PayPal.
Gotcha.
But another thing about Bitcoin is, like, you don't have to buy, you can actually mine the coins, which, it gets harder and harder every time more Bitcoins are found. It gets a lot harder to get more Bitcoins, which puts more value behind it, I think. And the more people that use it, the more valuable to get. It'll be like stock. But at this point, there's tons of hackers that use their bot networks to mine for Bitcoins. and I was reading an article that it uses about $500,000 in power like a day for some of these large botnets, and they're profiting. It's barely over the amount of electricity you use and cost as much as many like money you make off the bitcoins you find.
Gotcha. Well, as I'm just looking through this article again, after talking about the bitcoins and why it makes sense that they use it in a site like this because you can't really be tracked. I'm just looking at it, and the Dread Pirate Roberts, who tweeted out, also said a tweet, and this was kind of ridiculous, especially if you have any kind of knowledge about hacking, is that he uses a secure Tor browser and he's beefed up the security. He said there was 11,000 probes in 12 hours. None of them were successful. That is ridiculous. So it's crazy when you're that powerful, because clearly this guy's got some money. If he's just willing to say, "Hey, government, remember that site you shut down because we're selling drugs? I brought it back. It's better than ever. Try to stop me." So it's crazy to think about that. The guy who they originally arrested for it was only 29 years old. He faces charges of computer hacking conspiracy, narcotics trafficking conspiracy, and money laundering.
He's fucked.
Unless he's got a lot of money. I'm really interested to see how this turns out. Like, I don't know if they're going to be like one of those things where they do the trial and he disappears forever, and you find out, like, if he writes a book 15 years later, like, yeah, I was doing nothing but playing ping pong and smoking weed in jail, you know? It happens when you're a billionaire.
That could happen, or they could just drop the hammer on him.
They could.
I know the U.S. government's been picking up against hackers. They're fighting against hackers more now.
It kind of makes me wonder if Dread Pirate Roberts does not like the guy, because his trial's going on, and they resurrect the website while the trial's going on, and he's basically poking at the government like, "Ha, you can't stop us." So maybe they're going to like, "All right then, fuck you, Ross Ulbricht, you're fucked." Hammer down, bang the gavel, prison forever, hope you get raped.
And they also arrested 3 other guys with them. They haven't said what they haven't said, like, if they're customers or like people that were like involved with helping them run the site, but they got 3 other people with them too.
And there's also been since his indictment, there's 8 people in 3 countries have been arrested in association with it. So they are getting these guys. They were getting the guys from the first one. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. We don't have the background knowledge, and I have not sold enough drugs on Silk Road yet to have the new one out. I don't have the new browser pin or anything like that. So I'm going to have to wait a little while to get my Bitcoin up, you know, make some transactions. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, Josh know. Look at Josh.
Getting all the coke.
Josh got all the coke. All them Bitcoins. But